Welcome to Wrestle MSX. I'm Michael.
I'm Sally, and join us as we enter the Elimination Chamber.
So sit back, charge your glasses, grab your snacks,
and enjoy.
So, here we are at the last stop before WrestleMania. We begin with the Women's Elimination Chamber, and competing for a chance to headline WrestleMania is Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Roxanne Perez, Naomi and Alexa Bliss. We start with Liv Morgan and Naomi, but as the bell rang, Jade Cargill's music hit and she came storming out, no pun intended. Morgan looking terrified, as she should be. She got into the ring, no idea why the door wasn't closed in time, headed towards Morgan, swerved and then laid into Naomi, punching and kicking her before sliding the cage door into her, with officials finally seeing her off. It was then announced that Naomi was unable to compete, so therefore was eliminated from the chamber. By the time this had all happened, it was time for the first pod to open. It was Bianca Belair. She went over to Naomi, who was on the outside on the stretcher, but Liv didn't care and attacked from behind.
The two went back and forth, with Belair hitting her handspring moonsault and getting a 2 count when Roxanne Perez entered. She took it to both women, putting Belair down with a Hurricane Rana, but then suffering a shotgun drop kick from Morgan, with the two of them then taking each other out in the middle of the ring as the countdown for the next pod to open began. It was Bayley's, and Perez entered her pod but got destroyed before Bayley smashed Liv and then entered the ring to face off against Belair. A sunset flip bomb into the corner by Bayley, an elbow drop got her a 2 count cover before she went up top again, once too many times though, as Perez had recovered and powerbombed Bayley down to the floor. The follow-up pin only getting a 2. Morgan then hit Perez with a codebreaker, also getting a 2 count cover.
The final pod then opened, with Bliss entering the fray. She took out Morgan with ease before assaulting Perez and then dropping Bayley with a right. Bliss then went for a crossbody from the top rope onto Bayley and Belair, but the pair caught her and then dumped her down to the mat. Bayley escaped a crossface from Perez, but then suffered a springboard moonsault, with the two then fighting near the ropes. As Bayley threw Perez over the top rope, Morgan oblivioned her, covered and sent Bayley packing as she got the 3 count. Belair then chased Morgan onto the top of a pod, with Liv being whipped by Belair's hair as she tried to climb back down. Belair came down moments later with a crossbody to the other 3 opponents, taking them all out and giving them all a slight breather.
Belair went for the cover on Perez and Morgan, but only got a 2 on both. We then got a big corner spot, with Bliss suffering a superplex from Belair as Morgan and Perez powerbomb Belair. Roxanne then goes for pop rocks on Belair, but Belair stands up, catapulting her into the awaiting Liv Morgan, who then hits her with a codebreaker. As Perez hits the mat, Bliss launches and lands Twisted Bliss from the top rope, covers Perez and gets the 3 count.
Belair sets Bliss up for a KOD, which she escapes with all 3 swapping moves and Morgan hitting the 3 amigos. Liv sets Belair up for a 619, but Bliss intercepts, looking for Sister Abigail, with Morgan powering out and covering Bliss for 2. Belair then rolls up Morgan for a pin, with Morgan kicking out and sending Belair into a Sister Abigail, which Bliss hits. Before Bliss can cover though, Morgan jackknife pins Bliss, gets the 3 and eliminates her, leaving Belair and Morgan to duke it out.
Morgan covers Belair, but only for 2, with Morgan then using Belair like a yo-yo between the ropes and the side of the chamber, her hair being the string. Nice spot, it did look good. The follow-up cover only getting a 2. Morgan hits a codebreaker from the middle rope, which Belair completely no-sells, spears Morgan and then covers for 2. Why would you not sell a codebreaker from the middle rope?
I know, it's like, it's just shaking it off as if it's nothing. No.
Belair then used Liv as a wrecking ball, smashing her into the side of the chamber and pods before powerbombing her back into the ring and topping it off with a 450. On landing, Morgan got her knees up, but to no avail as Belair goes for the KOD. Morgan lands on her feet though and hits a codebreaker. Belair bounces onto the ropes, Liv goes for Oblivion, but Belair catches it and turns it into a KOD, pins Morgan and wins the chamber. As Belair gets to the top of the entranceway, Rhea Ripley heads out, followed by Io Sky, and the 3 have a stare off.
Told you Belair would win, didn't I?
I told you.
Told you Jade Cargill had come out, didn't I?
Yeah, you totally said that.
Told you that it was Naomi, didn't I? After you'd said it ages ago.
All your own thoughts, definitely.
Next up, the tag match between Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus against Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. Stratus hits a swinging neckbreaker on LeRae for a quick 1 count before Stratus tagged in and suffers at the hands of the newly tagged in Jax. Stratton foils an Annihilator, tags in Jax and then proceeds to DDT Jax and covers for 1. Jax then ragdolls Stratus, smashing her into the turnbuckle, with LeRae then coming back in and continuing the beatdown. Team heel exchange tags, keeping Stratus from her corner, but of course she eventually makes the hot tag. Stratton hits her tumbling back elbow on LeRae before knocking Jax off the apron. Alabama slamming LeRae and then spine busting Jax. This is all followed by a double stomp and cover for 2 on LeRae.
Stratton goes for the prettiest moonsault, but LeRae interrupts it, which then allows her to tag in Jax, who leg drops the women's champion and covers for 2. Stratus comes back in and hits a super stratisfaction from the top rope on Jax, but only gets a 2, as LeRae breaks it with a springboard moonsault. It should have been a 3 count, but the ref stopped counting while he waited for LeRae to break the pin. It's not the refs that are bad, it's the wrestlers taking too long to perform the move. Anyway, back to the match. The springboard moonsault that LeRae hit also took out Jax, which allowed Stratus to tag in Stratton, who then climbed to the top rope, hit the prettiest moonsault and pinned Jax for the win.
Not a bad match.
No.
I mean, obviously the ref you mentioned there, he was going to hit the mat 3 times.
Easily.
But he had to stop because LeRae was taking too long to hit a moonsault. And Jacob Fatu did this on SmackDown. The ref was like, oh, I can't count 3 because I need Jacob to hit this move to break the pin. The problem is the wrestlers seem to think that they have to make their move on 2 because they'll break it on 3.
Yes,
they don't.
yeah.
They have to move it on 1, and then as they come down, they'll break it as the ref's already hit 2 and about to hit 3. So it's the wrestlers. Book your ideas up. Next up, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in an unsanctioned match. No countouts, no disqualifications, no rules, so a street fight then. Even the ref's getting involved with the no rules wearing a t-shirt instead of his ref's shirt, so it's non-uniform day. It starts with a brawl before we, of course, go outside. I noticed that the lights are down at 2, so this must be serious, and the turnbuckle pads were also covered up. Sami digs a chair out from under the ring, but Owens ends up using it when the two get back in the ring. KO then hits himself with the chair. Not on purpose, the chair rebounded off the rope as he swung at Sami, with Sami ducking. Now it's Zayn's turn to use the chair as he attacks Owens with it, then finds a hockey stick under the ring and uses that on Owens too. Owens returns the favour with the stick, even biting Zayn while using it. 2 tables are then stacked up, ready for something as the two fight their way through the crowd, using bins and bottles to attack each other.
Sami finds 2 tables, dropping Owens through both before they head back towards the ring, where the two climb the ropes near the stacked tables. KO looks for the Fisherman Buster, Sami stops it. So Owens slips to the mat and then pushes Zayn from the top turnbuckle, sending him crashing through the previously stacked furniture. With Sami now incapacitated, Owens hits him with a brainbuster on a chair in the middle of the ring, covers and gets a 2 count. He may be dead, came the cry from Michael Cole, as Zayn suplexed Owens onto a chair and then followed up with a haluva kick. Only the kick didn't reach its intended mark as Owens ducked and the kick caught the ref instead. That's okay, there's no rules anyway.
Yeah, we don't need a ref. Well, we do, but...
KO hits Sami with a stunner, covers him and gets at least a 5 count before another ref heads out. Sami kicks out on 2. KO, not happy about this, takes it out on the ref, levelling him with a clothesline, as then another ref heads out. KO then sets Sami up on a table in the ring with a chair across his torso and climbs to the middle rope. Sami comes around, throws the chair at Owens and then climbs up to him. Big mistake, as Owens Fisherman busted him through the table. KO covers, Sami kicks out. Sami then haluva kicks Owens, who kicks out of the pin on 2.
Sami then fishes out a chair wrapped in barbed wire from under the ring and proceeds to use it on KO before a drop toe hold on KO sends him face first into the chair, which Sami had set up. Owens writhes in pain as Sami then sets the barbed chair over 2 other chairs and Blue Thunderbomb Owen onto it. Sami covers, KO kicks out. Sami looks for the haluva kick, but Owens beats him to the punch with a pop-up powerbomb. Now outside the ring, Owens wraps a chair around Sami's neck and sends him head first into the ring posts before powerbombing him 3 times onto the apron. Owens then rolls Zayn back into the ring, covers him and gets the 1-2-3. With the match over and Owens heading back up the rampway, he suddenly decides he's not finished, so uncovers the concrete flooring at ringside and drags Sami out for one last go around. Just as Owens was about to deliver a package power driver, Randy Orton's music hits. Owens stops what he's doing, gets in the ring and goads Orton in. Orton accepts, beating up KO and RKOing him. Orton then goes to punt Owens, but security finally do their job and manage to stop the assault. Owens heads back up the rampway while Orton RKOs 4 jobber staff for ships and giggles.
Last match of the night, the men's Elimination Chamber, and competing for the chance to go to WrestleMania is John Cena, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Damien Priest and Logan Paul. We start off with Drew and Seth as the other men are locked away awaiting their release. A missed Claymore and then a stomp starts us off with Drew taking an early lead. Seth soon turns it around, smashing Drew's head into Punk's pod, with Punk encouraging Seth. The two fight with Seth going for an early cover before Drew uses the ring against him and awaits for the next participant as the clock counts down.
Out next, Damien Priest, who takes it to both Drew and Seth, with Priest razor edging Seth into Drew. The three then scuffle, with Seth escaping a South of Heaven, only to be powerbombed onto Priest by Drew. Drew covers, Seth kicks out. We see the 3-men corner move we saw a few weeks ago, with Drew from the Tree of Woe suplexing Seth as Seth suplexes Priest from off the top rope. As the three roll around the ring, the clock appears as we once again await the next entrant.
The Mav is here and enters via crossbody to Drew and getting a 2 count. He then hits Priest with a standing moonsault into cover, also for 2, before punching and kicking Seth and covering him for 2. Priest then takes Paul to task, smashing him into the pod before Drew comes to his rescue and fights with Damien. This doesn't last long as Priest hits Drew with a Hurricane Rana from the top rope before he continues his battle with Paul. Paul gets the better of Priest and then gets back into the ring, only to be met with a super kick from Rollins, who then covers Paul for 2. The clock appears again as we wait for the next challenger.
John Cena. An AA to Seth and Priest and 5-knuckle shuffle to Paul, followed by another AA, sets Cena up for a great start. But as he turns to pin Logan, Drew catches him with a Claymore. Drew gets down to talk smack to Cena, but as he does, Priest rolls him up from behind and eliminates the Scottish Warrior. Drew can't believe it, looks at the WrestleMania sign, gets angry, and then claymores Priest. When he finally exits the chamber, Logan frog splashes Priest from the top of Punk's pod, covers him, and gets a 3 count on the Punisher. 2 out before the last man's even in. The clock begins again, which means it's nearly time for the straight edge superstar.
Punk comes out, fired up, laying into Paul as Seth and Cena are still down and out. Having dealt with Paul and pointing at the WrestleMania sign, Cena comes to and he and Punk then set to battle in the ring. They have a war of words which buys Seth enough time to recuperate, kick Punk and then start a beatdown on him. Cena grabs Seth, but Seth pushes Cena away, telling him Punk's his. Seth goes back to Punk with Cena once again pulling him off. Cena and Seth then trade yeah, boo punches before Paul ends it with a double clothesline. Logan then turns his attention to Punk, who reverses Paul's attack and sets him up for a GTS. Punk hits it and covers Logan, sending him out the Elimination Chamber and leaving only himself, Cena and Seth to fight it out.
Cena and Punk team up, hitting Seth back and forth before double teaming Rollins with a heart attack, a homage to Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart's finisher before the two square off. Cena extends his hand, Punk comes in for a hug, and then the punches fly. The two exchange moves before Cena locks in the STF. Punk manages to escape and lock in the Anaconda Vice, with Cena likewise escaping. The two get up, with Punk putting Cena back down with a swinging neckbreaker before climbing the top rope and crossbodying Cena. Cena rolls through, gets to his feet while holding Punk, hoists him onto his shoulders and AAs him. Punk kicks out on 2 as Cena covered.
Getting desperate, Cena goes to the top rope, but Rollins puts a stop to that by buckle bombing Cena into the chamber wall and then throwing him through the perspex of one of the pods. Seth heads to Punk in the middle of the ring and sets him up for a pedigree. Punk reverses into a GTS, which Seth counters back into the pedigree and hits. Seth covers, Punk kicks out. Punk drops an elbow from the top rope and gets Seth ready for a GTS, but Seth has other ideas, slipping down Punk's back and Booker bombing him before stomping and going for the cover. Punk somehow kicks out on 2.
Seth heads to the turnbuckle looking for a super stomp, but all he finds is Cena as Cena gets him across his shoulders. Seth escapes, but only into the hands of Punk, who GTS's Rollins. This is followed with an AA from Cena, with Punk then picking up the pieces and pinning Seth, sending him from the chamber. Cena and Punk square off again, with Cena going for another handshake. Punk accepts, pulls him in and hits him with the GTS. The cover gets a 2. Cena AA's Punk. Punk kicks out. Cena tries for the STF, but Punk scrambles to the rope and pushes Cena away with his feet. Seth, who's still in the ring, stomps Punk, with Cena taking advantage and locking in the STF. Punk fades, the ref calls for the bell, and John Cena is on his way to WrestleMania 41 to face Cody Rhodes.
Told you. As Cena celebrates in the ring and the chamber is lifted, out comes Cody Rhodes. The 2 men shake hands in the middle of the ring when suddenly the Rock's music plays. Out comes Travis Scott, followed by who we want to see, the final boss himself, Dwayne The Rock, is this a Disney film, Johnson. Rocky says the moment has arrived. I will open my arms, you will embrace me as your brother, I will embrace you as my champion. Rock says, I want your mind and your soul. If you say yes, the American nightmare will live forever. If you say no, then tonight the dream dies.
Cody says he wants it all, and that his soul no longer belongs to him, because he gave his soul to the ring and the people a long time ago. Rhodes then tells The Rock to go and fudge himself, actually dropping the F-bomb, with Cena then embracing Rhodes. Only as the 2 hug, Cena looks at The Rock and his face drops, with The Rock using the cutthroat gesture. The penny drops as we then see Cena beat up Cody, using Cody's watch as a knuckle duster before using the WWE belt and busting him open. The Rock then joins in, whipping Cody with the weight belt we saw from SmackDown before wiping the champion's blood across it. The Elimination Chamber goes off the air with the smiling Rock and his new recruit, heel John Cena.
Wowzers. Who saw that coming?
Not me.
Not me at all.
None of them dirt sheets.
That's like some WrestleMania storyline right there.
It was.
Brilliant
it was,
from WWE.
It was.
Oh, enjoyed it. Swerving right at that last second. Like, no chance did I think that Cena would turn heel.
No, I mean, there's been talk about it over the years that, he should turn heel, he should turn heel. Yeah, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah, but obviously, like, back in the day, yes, that should have happened. But, like, now it's like, never thought.
Yeah, the last go around.
Yeah.
Let's turn you heel. Okay.
Yeah. Brilliant, love it.
Because the thing is, what we were discussing earlier off air, he's not going to finish his career as a heel. So he's going to have to swerve back to face somewhere. So and the thing is, we're talking about this. Go on, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, but because we're still early in the year, we've got time, so we can be heel for a bit. But hopefully...
Well, he's got to be a face, hasn't he, to finish his career.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and that's not even talking about... You see, we forgot about Zayn and Owens. A great match. Another great match. But you forget about that. You forget about Randy Orton coming back. Yeah. You forget about Jade Cargill coming back, beating up Naomi. Clearly it's Naomi, but...
Like I said.
But it's just like... forget that. And it is better. It is. That's amazing. Look, anyway, subscribe if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, subscribe anyway. Thank you so much for watching.
And we'll see you this Tuesday for the fallout from Raw.
Should be good.